Today's tutorial is all about painting loose. So today I will share my top techniques with you on creating not only this painting, but this style. All right, so we have our watercolor supplies. I'm starting out with this lovely yellowy green color. And this is a palette by Christy Rice, the Art for Joy's Sake palette. So if you don't know what this is, check it out in the link in the description. She is amazing and her products are amazing. I'm using a filbert brush and that's going to help us paint loose. That's my first tip today. Yes, that's right. Use a filbert brush. So we're going to take this brush and we're going to twist it and we're going to turn it. I want to create some really thick petals. You can twist it around to the side and create some thin marks as well. There's just a lot that can be done with a large brush. So for this particular flower, we're not worrying too much about the specifics of how the petals are looking right now. What I'm really most concerned about here is just making sure that we have this shape of a side-facing flower. So you can see I have roughly 3 large petals on the top, and I'm also adding in some darker paint in the center here just for some shadows and some more definition. And then those petals on the bottom, as you can see, are just, they're facing outward. The one on the bottom is just a little bitty petal because our focus is on the fact that this is more of a side facing, and this is what you see. My number 2 tip is to paint loosely, holding the brush loosely in your hand, because if you do, you can move around a lot and you can allow those marks to be more organic. If you're holding it loosely, you're not going to get as tight of a composition as if you're really just gripping on that brush. So as I'm creating these smaller little blooms here, keep that in mind. Loose grip, hold the brush in the middle. It'll really help. Next, I'm going to take my dagger brush. The little tip of that is going to be used to create my stems. So I have, again, a very yellowy green color. It's a little bit darker than what we had, added in some teal. Just kind of mixing a little bit of a darker shade together, since this palette tends to have some lighter shades for those greenish colors. And we're going to make our little stems here in all of our flowers. Don't be so worried about it. Don't be too careful. This guy here, let's see, let's add it just kind of curving, and we don't even have to have it connect all the way to the bottom. This is more of a, since it's a loose painting, it's not abstract, but it's not realism, people, okay? And that's the bottom line. Let's do some leaves holding our brush really loosely. We're just going to make some wonky leaves here, not even worried about the shape, but it's the shape of a leaf. We're not doing C-curve shapes though. We're not doing tight leaves. We're just gonna keep it really loose and start making some marks on our paper. And some of these marks might not even look like leaves, and that's okay. Just some brush strokes. Eventually we're going to add water to this background. Colors are going to bleed and spread, and it's just going to be all crazy, and that's okay. I've got some reddish brown here on my page, and I'm just making some scrubby marks, just adding in some lines and details and allowing the paint to kind of do what it's going to do. With this painting, since we're painting loose, we're going to try to have a loose idea of what we want it to be as well. And as I'm always saying to you guys, remember not only to enjoy the experience of painting, but being aware of that negative story in your head that's telling you you're not good enough, okay? Your painting isn't good enough. You're not good enough in life, not a good enough father or mother or teacher or sibling or worker or whatever role might be frustrating to you. Some teal paint, adding that into our middle. It's going to bleed a little bit, but that's okay. It's going to look pretty. We'll do that for all of our blooms. And just remind yourself that as you are reflecting on your art and you're feeling like it's not good enough and it's not going to be what you want it to be, those same negative thought patterns that keep you down in your art are the same type of thought patterns you probably have on a daily basis about other aspects of your life. And as a therapist, I can attest to this even in my own personal life. So as you're painting, keep in mind, not only is this supposed to be fun and relaxing, but it is practice. But it's not only practicing painting, it's practicing being able to let go of that negative story and move on and try to find some peace and some joy in every activity you're involved in. Guys, taking some water. Look at my water. It's really kind of greenish, bluish, teal. And I'm just spreading that all over the background. I'm allowing the wet paint that's on the flowers or on the leaves to spread slightly. Everything is pretty dry because we used thin paint, and so there's not as much spreading and bleeding as if I had used a lot more thick, watery paint. But you can always add in more colors too. This is just so fun. As you're adding in the water, you're creating this opportunity for the paint to bleed and flow together. Let's grab some of this light pink here and just make some wonky leaf marks, or maybe branches or something like that. Maybe it's just a pinkish background in the back. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. We're just adding those marks in as we see fit and just having a lot of fun with it. So I hope if you are feeling stressed about this process at all, because I know sometimes adding water in and allowing this paint to kind of do what it wants makes us feel quite anxious, to be honest. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself this is supposed to be fun, or don't even just say supposed to. This is fun. This is fun. This is healing. Add some pink to your blooms. That filbert brush, it's a wonderful brush. Love it. It does so many amazing things. We're adding some centers to our flowers to create more depth, more dimension, more interest, more beauty. If you don't want to use pink with your yellow, grab any color on your palette. Like I said, this Art for Joy's Sake palette by Christy Rice is fantastic, and I highly recommend that you look her up and purchase this. The link will be in the description. No one's paying me to say that. I just really appreciate her as a person, as an artist. She's loving and kind and helpful, and I'm happy to promote her products as well because they are fantastic and beautiful, and they were created on this idea to find joy in your artwork. So as we're adding in this teal paint over our stems that we created, you're seeing a lot of spreading and a lot of bleeding, and it's just going to happen because our paper is so wet. Now we're starting to see a little bit more of a background that's abstract, that it's definitely not realistic. Let's add in another color. I've got some brown just dipping in with, I've switched brushes if you hadn't noticed. This is actually a dagger brush by Christy Rice as well. So guys, I just want you to kind of take a step back and look at your painting right now. If you are enjoying this video, if you don't mind helping me out, just give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment below. Let me know what of the tips I've shared so far with painting loose has been your favorite, and share some tips below if you have any others that help you to paint loose as well. I hope you are enjoying painting this with me as much as I'm painting and having so much fun with you today. Right now we are close to being done. We're just doing a little bit of splatter, load your brush with paint, and then just tap it either with your finger or with your other hand. And you'll see amazing, beautiful marks. It looks like magical pollen lifting from the flowers. It's just going to create another aspect, another layer of beauty for this painting that has a lovely abstract background. If you want to, you can go ahead and darken up some of these petals with that yellowy green color. And my last tip, just to leave you with one more for painting loose, is to have a relaxed mindset, allowing yourself to paint in an emotional way instead of being critical and analyzing every brush stroke you do. As we're wrapping this up, I thank you for being here. If you'd like to learn more with me, check out my Patreon membership account. Link is in the bio. I offer exclusive content, live streams, tutorials, art prints, and more.